Welcome to Keep Smiling, the e-commerce customer experience podcast. Selling products online is challenging and can lead to poor experiences. We explore how entrepreneurs and organizations create better experiences for the people they serve. Amazon, Shopify, artificial intelligence. We'll discuss what matters today and what you can do to build a better e-commerce business. Hello, listeners, and thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Ty Walters, and today's episode is the second part of a conversation Michael and I had a few weeks ago in November. And in this part of the conversation, we discuss changes to Amazon product reviews, plus the customer service rating beta feature found inside buyer-seller messaging. Michael, let's talk about product review changes. So we've been doing customer service on Amazon and multi-channel for almost 3 years now. In our course of reviewing and monitoring product reviews on behalf of sellers, our typical workflow is that we would look at the most recent reviews and we would leave a comment and a helpful customer service message depending on the description of the product review as well as the objective rating of the product review. And what we started to see were product reviews without text, without a description of the actual issue. So this would look like a 1 or 2 or 3 star rating and no explanation. So our team immediately noticed that there's no indication of how we should reply in these situations because we don't know exactly the reason for that product review. So, Michael, are we still seeing this, to your knowledge, these textless product ratings? And what did we find out when we dug a little bit deeper?
So what we know so far is that this might be a feature that's in beta. We can't verify for sure that this is something that every buyer or every seller will see on their end. But what you might see, or how you know if this is something that affects you, is you might go to your listing and notice in the review section that it'll say something such as, there are 34 customer reviews and 35 customer ratings. So right off the bat, Amazon is changing the terminology between customer reviews, meaning a star rating, headline text, and the actual body text of a review, versus customer rating, meaning just the star rating itself. So when we went through this process and tested it, I went to one of my orders, I picked a product I had already purchased, and in the overall rating where you can select the star rating, I selected the number of stars for my review. And as soon as I did, I got a message right below the rating that said submit it. Now, below that view, you still have the option to add a headline and add an actual review text, but it wasn't necessary for my review. It seems to have taken my submission of just the star rating without any text. So that's something that we noticed in testing this feature. I took it a step further and I wanted to see if I could submit just a blank review. So at the bottom of the page, I clicked on submit without adding a headline or a review, and it still prompted me to add my text there. So from my understanding of how this interface is now working is the overall rating will take a submission of just the star rating. However, if you wanted to take a moment and write an actual review, that is something that seems to be separate from the star rating. Now, in terms of what this means, we believe this is a beta feature. We're not entirely sure if this is something that's been released to all Amazon buyers, but this is something that goes to benefit Amazon buyers. It makes it easier for them to leave their thoughts or to quickly leave a review rating on something that they purchased recently without having to take extra time in writing a full review. Perhaps this is something that is too much of an obstacle for everyday buyers, and the review rating feature allows them to do that a lot faster. On the other hand, however, it does become harder for sellers to know when a review is fraudulent. Since there's no information about the rating itself, the customer hasn't left any comments, we don't know anything about it, you can't really take any action with this. And all you know is that there's ratings left in addition to your review. So there isn't really any way to find any other information about who left that rating, why they left that rating, what have you. So right now, this is something that I'm sure will become more and more popular as we go forward. But at this time is something that sellers might have a hard time understanding in terms of, what exactly is wrong with maybe this rating, or who gave this rating? How can I help them? Those are some of the challenges you'll have to face in the meantime.
Right. Another example of Amazon making a change perhaps to favor the experience of the customer, making it a bit more challenging for sellers to interact with that information or those buyers to understand what happened, what they could have done better, or what they can do better to help the situation if it's ongoing. We will include a screenshot of this customer-facing review interface where we see the rating is distinct. That rating submission is separate from the overall review submission. I wish, as a customer service representative, that we got more information, more granular, more details in each of our reviews, because we're ultimately trying to interpret and filter that data to make important changes in the business. So less information just delays or stifles that process, in my opinion.
In the bigger picture, this is the second or third major update we've seen in the review process for Amazon shoppers. So we expect to see many more as well.
So, Michael, the next topic that I'd like to discuss with you and share our thoughts on is the Amazon customer service rating beta. Again, this is another beta feature Amazon appears to be testing on many of the accounts that we're working with on a daily basis. And I'm going to give a quick backstory and then we'll jump into what the beta feature looks like. So, 2.5 years ago, Michael and I were working on customer service in Amazon, and one of the easy ways to prove our value was by looking at the customer service or buyer-seller messaging performance dashboards within Seller Central. They existed in all Seller Central accounts, and they showed your performance and how fast you were able to reply and respond to buyer-seller messages. And it would show your performance over time in certain time period windows. And what the SellerSmile team would do is come in, take over the customer service for that seller. And after a 7-day period would go by, we'd have updated metrics on that dashboard. And we were able to show that the SellerSmile team indeed brought a higher level of customer service to their Amazon buyers. After a few months of doing this, we saw these dashboards go away, and they're still not back. So that prompted our team to start to think of ways that we could collect our own metrics on how our team was doing and dealing and how efficient we were handling buyer-seller messages in Amazon on behalf of our clients. Fast forward to now, a few weeks ago, we started to see Amazon roll out and indicate this new beta feature, which they're titling Customer Service Rating. And this is the closest type of feature that we've seen that relates back to those earlier customer service buyer-seller messaging dashboards, because it's showing us an objective quantified rating out of 10, and it's also putting that rating in context of maybe what is poor and what is average or mediocre, and what is excellent. And we'll provide some screenshots of these in the show notes. 2 things to note here. It looks like a minimum number of survey responses are needed to actually generate a rating. This seems to be on sort of a sliding time scale. So you'll need to maintain a certain number of responses repeatedly, periodically, to get updated metrics. There's much more information about this that we'll point you to. But once we see this rating appear, Amazon is displaying 0 on the left, 10 on the right. And it gives you a little indicator of where your customer service is, somewhere in the middle. And right under that, which I really appreciate, Amazon is giving a seller advice right away about how they can improve their rating. What they've seen leads to a better customer experience.
So if you've noticed the customer service rating interface, this is straight from buyer-seller messaging. You'll notice there's a customer service rating action button to the right-hand side. I want to say right below the manage email templates option. But when you click on that page, that's where it'll tell you if you've collected enough responses. Definitely go check it out. Some of the items here that they talk about is worth noting. The how can I improve my rating? These are some of the basic tips that Amazon gives Amazon sellers for how to improve your rating. But even further than that, this comes from their Seller Central article, which we'll link in the show notes. They talk about why does this rating matter? And this is something that really stood out to me. And they say, high customer service ratings are correlated with repeat purchases. Low customer service ratings are correlated with negative seller feedback. Additionally, when responding to the question, did this solve your problem, buyers have the option to provide direct seller feedback that is enforceable. So, as a reminder, customers are sent a message underneath your responses that say, did this solve your problem? And if you take a moment to really think about it, the people who are going to leave a response for your survey are likely to be customers who are either very upset or very happy about their experience. So these are things to take into consideration, in that all of your responses include this rating. Perhaps this is something you might even be able to bring to the attention of someone in your typical correspondence with them. But some of the things here that they mentioned in their article as well, I wanted to briefly touch on is they list a few things of what to do in order to get a great customer service rating. They mention here, shorten the time to respond to and resolve buyer issues, personalize your communication with name, repeat customer, any prior communication, write clear, concise, and professional responses to your buyer questions, test any included links before sending the message. They go on to include some other information here about having buyer-friendly cancellation and return policies, including tracking information when responding to a question about shipping, for example. Those are some of the essential tips that Amazon has to offer. But even, I would say, perhaps even more importantly, things not to do that Amazon Seller Central suggests here is they say, do not ship without tracking information. Do not ask customers to find information or complete work that you are able to do yourself, for example, contacting the carrier. Do not include vague or empty product descriptions, shipping or return policies in your messages, and do not send automated reply emails to customers. So in summary, as Ty was mentioning earlier, we see this as a possible updated replacement to some of the customer service metrics that Amazon used to display previously. Sometime last year, we even wrote a blog post article about this. When buyer-seller messaging was updating, there was a time where Amazon Seller Central was presenting customer service ratings and customer comments directly in the buyer-seller messaging interface. So this seems to be very much linked to that update, except it's no longer in the buyer-seller messaging interface. It has its own rating scale, but that's something that we'll begin to see more and more. And we just see this as Amazon surfacing opportunities through customer service reporting and using that information to educate sellers on how to provide excellent customer service.
To find an article with extended information about this new beta feature entitled Customer Service Rating, Frequently Asked Questions, you can go to our post at SellerSmile.com and we'll link to that article there. The call to action from this episode will be to go check out your customer service rating if you have one or if that feature is available to you. To find that, log into your Amazon Seller Central account, navigate to the messages page, and then look in your right sidebar. We see a customer service rating link that would exist right under the Manage Email Templates link. It's indicating this feature is in beta. Take a look and let us know if you found that feature in your account. Today's customer service quote comes from Jeff Bezos. He says, "One thing I love about customers is that they are divinely discontent. Their expectations are never static. They go up. It's human nature." To find the show notes, which include links to the articles and resources we discussed, as well as screenshots of these new features, go to sellersmile.com/023. If you have your own e-commerce customer service question, submit that to keepsmiling@sellersmile.com. And if you found this conversation valuable, hit subscribe and you'll get the next episode straight to your device. Thanks again, and keep smiling.